right.
Hold on, let me sit down, get settled, and then you can do your intro. Okay.
And I'm with my cousin KEARA today.
Hi.
Because a thing that we thought of this was something that happened to us just recently, like an hour ago, I think. So her house is haunted. It's haunted.
Yeah.
So we have a fan in her room, but we wanted to turn it off because
The sound is too much.
So we put on the AC and the fan in the living room. So my cousin, so she turns on the fan. She walked into the room to turn off this fan. The other fan went off.
Like I heard the click of the, you know how when it's a fan, it's the 0, then it's 1, 2, 3, and the 0 turns it off. So I heard the click of the 0 being pressed, and the fan just turned off. And I turn around and look, and I'm just watching the fan slow down. I'm like, excuse me, I turned you on for a reason. Okay.
And yeah, so
basically that inspired us to share our scary stories. I think Eric is starting, and I'm going to be going last. We're going every other, but I'm going to be last because I have one that's very spooky. So
it scared me. So this one happened last night. My luck. Well, this was more towards my mom, but I was with my mom at her work. So it was an orphanage before it was a nursing center. So there is ghost kids there. Well, patients see a lot of the children. So anyways, my mom was at her desk, you know. So get this, the door by her desk, nobody's allowed to go in or out unless you work there. So if you have a badge to open that door, you can go in. But, so the door, the indoor that goes into the actual where she works, opens. Then closes. And I was like, oh, that happens all the time, so I'm not gonna, I don't care. She goes back typing. It opens again, and then the other one opens. So my mom walks out. So the other one is opened. So it's outside, you go in. Then there's a hallway, then you go in again, and that's where she works. So if you don't have a badge, the front door should not be opened. And it was opened. So she goes by it. It would not shut. So she's to pry it shut, like with her hands. Then she walks out. So while she's walking out, the back 2 doors close on her. So when she walks out, the door closes. So then she walks back up to that door. Then the door opens. That's the end of my story. But it was very creepy because she never heard of that happening. So your turn.
Okay. So the story actually takes place in my dad's house, not my mom's, even though, you know, my mom's house is the one that's haunted. So at my dad's, our kitchen light is broken. So you know how there's that box behind the switch? So that, I think, was put in incorrectly and shifted downwards a little bit. So turning on the light in that room is very difficult. You have to take the whole box and, like, push it up and turn the light on. And eventually it'll, like, you have to, like, click it over and it'll stick eventually. But it takes a minute. It's not easy to turn the light on. So it was late at night. My brother wasn't home. I think he was at his mom's. So my brother wasn't home and my dad was sleeping in his room. I was in the living room watching TV. And I decided I want a snack because,
She's KEARA.
So I go in the kitchen, I make myself, I think, mac and cheese, and I turn the light off, I go sit down in the living room, and I'm watching TV. And I could see the kitchen, like, door from my peripheral vision while watching TV, and, like, I kind of look over, and all of a sudden, the light goes on, and I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, okay, I guess I just didn't, flip the switch down all the way. So I go over, and I look, and the switch is completely up. And
it takes 5 minutes just to get the switch up.
Not even, it doesn't take 5, but, like, it takes a long time to get the switch up. So the fact that it just went and turned on, I was like, what? So I sat there for, like, a half hour playing with the light, trying to come up with as many possibilities. Like, I tried to, like, move it a little bit and see, okay, maybe I didn't flick it down all the way, but even if I moved it a little bit, the light would turn off. So it definitely wasn't that, and I definitely hit the switch down. And I sat there, I tried to see if maybe it bounced or something, and then it got stuck up, and then eventually it clicked and, like, turned on, but the switch was already up. I tried every possibility, and it didn't work, and that was, I think, like, one of maybe 2 or 3 paranormal experiences that have happened at my dad's house. It's cool, but I mean, it's cool, but like you don't want to invite anything in.
No.
But Dad, who is not a believer of ghosts at all in the slightest, and he goes, "Yeah, I believe it." Like he believed me. He's like, "Yeah, an old lady died like an apartment or two over," and I was like, "What?"
Excuse. If you don't believe, then.
And he said he believed, and I was like, "Wow."
Okay. So my next story, this actually happened
In my house, many years ago.
Yeah, like I was 4 or 5.
Something like that.
So my Aunt Heidi, who was at work.
That's my mom.
Yeah, it's her mom. So I was over one day. It was just her, me, and KEARA.
Not even me. I wasn't there. It was just you two.
Yeah, I think because you were at your dad's house, I think, when you came later.
Yeah, I think my mom was just babysitting you.
And she came later after that.
Mm-hmm.
So how it works,
So basically the way my basement is shaped, you walk downstairs and there's a room, and you go to the left, and that's what our laundry room used to be. My house was built in 1905. It's a very old house.
So I was sitting on the steps because, I don't know, I was just bored. So my Aunt Heidi's doing laundry, So like, there's a main area, and she was in the room right here. So straight ahead, there's this extra room. And I asked my Aunt Heidi, I was like, "Can I go and play with that baby over there?" And my Aunt Heidi's like, "What?" I was like, "The baby over there, can I go play with him?" Heidi's like, "What baby?" I was like, "There's a baby right there." And Heidi's like,
Yeet. Yeet.
And Heidi took me upstairs right away. I was like, okay, I guess I'm not playing with that kid anymore.
Yeah.
So now it's on for the grand finale, which is KEARA. This is so scary. This happened a couple months ago.
This happened probably around 6 months ago. So I live by a school. It's called a 6th grade center, actually, because it's just 6th grade. But there's 3 roads that connect it to it from the front. So there's my road and then 2 blocks over. So on my street, anyway, I'm gonna cut that out. So it was like 10:30 at night one night, and my friend and her cousin decided to pick me up, and I was gonna sleep over her house and at night, whatever, no big deal, the usual thing. So she picks me up, and we drive up towards the middle school, because we're gonna go down to the farthest block so we're driving, and I look ahead, and I see something, and in my head I'm thinking, wow, is that like a garbage can? I'm like, what's that? So we get a little closer, and I'm like, wait, that's a little boy, right? Like that's not like an inanimate object. That's something that's living. I thought it was a boy. I was like, oh my god, there's a little kid. And then I realized that as we got closer, I looked and I was like, wait, that's an old hag. And as I was about to say something, both my friends were like, wait, what is that? So we're all like inching closer, and we're like, that's like a little kid. Like we were going back and forth, and we got closer to it, and all you saw was this like old lady. She had no face, and it was all rags. Just like, I don't even know how to
like hunched over.
Yeah, hunched over, standing in the middle of the street. It's pitch black. There are no lights except for our headlights. She is not moving, didn't look up, didn't flinch in anything. She just looks up, and we're like, holy shit. Oh my god. And so instead of going all the way down, this middle block happened to be right before where she was, so we didn't like have to go through her or anything. So they didn't want
to get possessed that day.
That would not be the good day. So we yeeted the car down the road, and we left, and we ran back to my friend's house, and we sat in her bed all like cradled up, like, oh my god, we don't want to go to sleep, we're gonna die, like, what is this? So I called my mom, who is also a strong believer in all this stuff. All of it. So do I, actually. I believe in this, obviously, a lot, and my whole family does. So I call my mom, and I'm like, what do I do? This is what I saw. What does it mean? So I'm talking to her, and she tells me that an old hag is an omen of death. And I'm like, I didn't tell you this part. I'm like, what? She's like, you didn't look it in the eyes or anything, right? I'm like, it had no eyes to look into. Death? What? And I ended up being fine. It's been 6 months, and like, I'm okay for the most part. I'm doing good.
Yeah.
So clearly, like, nothing happened, knock on wood. Yeah, it was pretty scary, but
right.
I got over it within a month or so.
Right. Thank you for watching. This is my first video back for 2 months. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to her, be in the description down below. Alright, see you guys next time.